This is another video about Kawhi Leonard. Now, the reason why I'm speaking on Kawhi Leonard because I made a video talking about Kawhi Leonard as a scam. Now, what I'm meaning by all of this is this: Kawhi Leonard is a scheme player that you put into a scheme. In other words, the scheme has already got to be in place in order for him to win, get the maximum results out of Kawhi Leonard. If you look at the way he came in the game, and like I said in my other video, he came into a system with Popovich, Tony Parker, Ginobili, and Tim Duncan. These are three Hall of Famers. So the system and scheme was already in play. He came into a game when nobody expected him to do what he did because he wasn't getting minutes like he was getting. So he started getting more minutes, and nobody seen him coming because they was too busy paying attention to the three Hall of Famers within a scheme that was there before he even started playing. So the scheme was already in place, a championship tier scheme, as a matter of fact, because the Spurs have won 5 championships. Tim Duncan has won 5 championships. So what I'm saying is he was already an all-star and a player that was experienced in the playoffs, such as Tony Parker. He won championships with the Spurs, and Ginobili won championship with the Spurs before Kawhi Leonard got there. So this system was already in place. You put him in play, you put him in the game, you plug him in with his skill set, and he surprises everybody. And then it doesn't mean he's the greatest player ever. It means that he came in the game with a great skill set of ball playing, but he was not the focal point. He was always somebody that was there because the other players were the distraction. So by the other players being a distraction, he was already there. So all he had to do was come in the game, play some good defense, and do what he does. And so the results came. Kawhi Leonard, oh, MVP. Like I said before, the same thing Andre Iguodala did when he was with the Golden State Warriors. He just came out of nowhere, and he was the MVP of that series. But they didn't make him a superstar because he did that. They didn't make him a starter and do all that. They just was like, yeah, you 6-man still. And the reason why I say Kawhi Leonard is a 6-man because he only fits into a scheme that's already in place. He fits into a scheme that's already in place, and then they start to win. He's not the focal point person because you won't get nothing out of that. This is why the Clippers are going through what they're going through. So now, if you look at after the injury, he was more leery, so he stopped playing with the Spurs, and he went to another team called the Toronto Raptors. Those Raptors were already experienced players that had been to the semifinals already before he got there. So they already knew how to play as a team. They already was there in playoff ready mode. So they knew how to play without Kawhi Leonard because they had success before he got there. They just hadn't gotten over the hump. So you put a player like him on the team, which he only played like 50-some games that year, or less than the games he missed a lot of games. So that means he was rested, he was fresh, and he was ready for the playoffs, and he was on a team that was already had a scheme in play. So he got put on a team that already had scheme in play and already had the players there. So it was quite easy for him to do what he did when he was with them because he already was with experienced playoff players that knew how to play in the scheme that before he got there. And I think Danny Green was on that team too. I'm not sure. Positive. On the Raptors team. So then they go to the playoffs off of that bounce shot he hits. They go to the playoffs. They beat the Sixers. And then they go further in the playoffs. Everybody like, oh, he hit that shot. But then you're not looking at it and taking account to when they got to the finals. After they beat the Bucks or whatever, they got to the finals. He struggled against a hobbled team with the Golden State Warriors, and other players had to come into play. And who was that? Siakam, Lowry, Mark Gasol, and Ibaka, and Van Fleet. They all was playing excellent basketball, especially Van Fleet, Kyle Lowry, and Siakam. They was playing real excellent, and Mark Gasol. They was hitting shots, hitting threes, multiple threes, shots going off when he wasn't looking like shit against a Golden State Warrior team that was hobbled. So now, take a team like that was already used to playing without Kawhi Leonard. They're gonna play good as a team and they're gonna win. So he was already, again, he was put on a team that had a scheme already. We gotta stop overlooking schemes, teams, and other players that are actually good because this one player came. If it wasn't for them doing what they did in the playoffs and it was just left on him, they wouldn't have beat the Golden State Warriors, even with the hobble Golden State Warriors. Because if you look at that damn series, Van Fleet went off, and the Kyle Lowry went off in Golden State. Siakam went off. They was going off. They was doing their thing. He wasn't. That's what I'm trying to say. So now you take him to the Clippers because he beat a hobbled team against the Golden State Warriors, and then he already came into a team that had a scheme already. So he's a player you plug into a scheme with players that already used to playing with each other. It's gonna work because he's not reliable as the player to be always playing. So if they have to be already used to playing with each other, and then you put him on that team, you ain't got to rely on him being there all the time because they probably gonna win anyway because they used to playing with each other. That's how it works. But if you make him the focal point of the team and you make him the nucleus, and then he say, I want Paul George and I want Westbrook, and you getting Westbrook all that, it ain't gonna work because they'll never have a time to play as a team because he ain't never playing. So they'll never have a full year of playing with him, no matter who you bring to the team. So it'll never be a good team camaraderie. So making him the focal point of a team is bad. Making him the core of the team is bad. It's got to be somebody else, and he's just a role player. He's got to be that. But they keep giving him the contracts, and they're not looking at it. Everybody's emotionally thinking about it, and not thinking about the business side, about what he's doing. And this is what I try to tell people. He's just fit into a scheme that's already there, and then he add his skills to it, and he win a championship, just like a business person would do at a job. But he's not the superstar in money worth that everybody going crazy with because he's not reliable to be in a game for a full season. It's not going to be nothing you can build off of with that. So that's what I meant by that. So people got to understand. To me, he's like I said, Scottie Pippen, microwave Vinnie Johnson hybrid mix. He'll do that because he'll just come in a game, and do something. But the team has already got to have a scheme and already working together as a team and know how to play without him before he get there. Because once he gets there, he's not gonna give you time enough to even do that. So then you just go, okay, well, you know what? We already know how to play without him. So whenever he ready, he add his skills, will become that much better. But that's the only type of player he is. He's a player that needs to go to a team that's already got a scheme. He can't be the focal point of the team and to build around him. You can't build around that. So you'll never be able to build any camaraderie on the court in live action around that. So it's like you can't do it. So what I get what Stephen A. Smith is saying, you can't do that. If you try to build a scheme around a player that never is playing, it'll be inconsistency all the way through it because you're trying to make him still the focal point when it needs to just not be the focal point. And he can still be added skills and stuff to the table, but as added, not as the focal point. Peace.